Hi, my name is Ben Sutter III, and I'm founder and owner of BS3 Radio. I've been podcasting for 5 years, and with BS3 Radio, it has grown to over 46,000 listens and downloads. I've helped hundreds of people to start a podcast by giving them the knowledge, tools, and confidence to be successful. Now I'm here to help you do the same with BS3 coaching. So let's build a successful podcast. I will be your podcast coach. We'll be able to work one-on-one. I won't be giving you a booklet and just telling you to look over it, but we'll be working one-on-one, side by side, to either help build up a successful podcast or to take your podcast to the next level. So click the link above or below to check out the pricing. I look forward to working with you, and God bless. All right. Welcome, everyone, to Reaction Monday. Tonight, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about the top movies of 2020. I have a list of mine. Also, we have some guests that are going to be coming on the show. We got Eric of the Ear Hustling podcast that he co-hosts with James. Also, we got my man A-Trap B. He hasn't been on the show in a while, so we're going to talk about our favorite movies. We want you guys to give us yours as well, and we're going to kind of go down the list and talk about it and conversate about it. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Let me know, give us a comment where you're listening from, what you're doing, what was your favorite movie. So let's bring in Eric. What's going on, Eric?
Hey, what's going on, Ben?
All right, Happy New Year, man. Good to see your face.
Happy New Year to you too, sir. It's been far too long.
I know. Let's bring in A-Trap B into the bench. Yes, Bill for this network. What's going on?
How you doing, brother? How you doing, Eric? Nice to meet you.
Hey, how you doing? Happy New Year to you.
Good, man. Good to get you guys on the show. Like I said, we're doing something a little bit different, talking about movies. I'm a movie buff. I don't know about you guys, but I love a good movie. That's a perfect Saturday, Sunday evening or whenever. Movies are always a good thing. But before we get into that, Eric, talk a little bit about yourself, and then A-Trap B, I'll go to you, just a little bit of an introduction.
Well, my name is Eric. I co-host the Ear Hustling podcast with James and Eric. This year for 2021, we're going to be moving our show from Mondays to Thursdays. We really talk about just about everything up under the sun, from finances to politics to stuff that really just don't matter. Just kind of, shoot the breeze, just kind of take the tension off of life. Me and my partner, we plan stuff like well in advance. We've got some firepower coming in January. The first show, it's going to be a heavy hitter. It's going to look like a little United Nations. We're going to have representations from everything. We're going to be talking about pretty much, what 2020 meant to us, challenges, but more importantly, the successes that happened over in 2020. It wasn't all just doom and gloom. There was a lot of positive things that happened in 2020. I was fortunate enough to see 2 beautiful lives that were created and born in 2020. So they kind of kept things going. So, we're going to talk about stuff, but we're going to talk about stuff that's going to be uplifting too.
Awesome. And that's what I love about what you guys do, is you talk about a variety of different things. It's not just sports. It's not music. It's some of everything. And I'm glad to have you guys a part of BS3 Radio. And I will be on the show on Thursday. So I'm looking forward to that, to talk about what 2020 has been. So that's definitely be a good conversation. And then A-Trap B, man, he haven't been on the show in a while. But we always text back and forth almost every day. But talk about yourself and what you have going
on. Much like you, I've been doing this podcasting thing for about 5 years. I was inspired partially by this guy, Reggie O'Shea. He used to be known as Combat Jack, rest in peace. And partially by my late mother. It was an idea that I was bouncing around in my head, and my mother inspired me to do it. I started off 5 years ago, just alone, and then I transitioned to X Squad Radio, where I met you. And then me, DJ Mad Knots, and Chief Rocker got together and did Build for This Network, where I have I'm working on. Well, I have 2.8 shows. I am in production of a third show. Well, actually, a fourth show. Well, Tuesdays, I do a show called The End of the Bench, and it's me and Joe from Houston and Big Illinois, and we just bounce around sports topics, whatever was popping that week, and we talk about it. And then Thursdays, because like you, I'm a couch potato, and that's the name of the show, Couch Potatoes.
Yep.
We talk about whatever the popular show is, or docu series, or whatever it is in regards to what's going on. And Saturdays, I do a community empowerment show, and I talk about politics. I talk about social issues. I talk about how to improve things, because a lot of people talk about things that are going on today, but I attempt to bring information and uplift people simultaneously. Hey, here are options in regards to how you would get this done, how we can improve in regards to this. So, and
Right.
my last show, hopefully my last show, I'm like I just fairy at this point.
You're doing a good job, man. Especially with the network, and the creativity. And you have different shows like the Couch Potato Show. I love listening to that, because I am a couch potato. I hate to say it, but I will sit on the couch and watch a day full of movies, and the time just goes by, or binge watch a show, whatever it may be. Let me give a couple of quick shout outs. Overton Claiborne, he has a podcast called Talking with OC. He's in the building. Front Ground Records, we know who that is. That's DJ Mad Knox. Also, we got Eating Cereal with Bees. He's a good friend of mine, J Ray. He's got a network as well that I'm affiliated with, No Phony Podcast Network. So, man, we're going to talk about our favorite movies. As you guys are listening, drop your favorite movie. So, kicking it off, shout out to Al High. He's in the building as well. We're going to get this party started. Somebody said Soul was a good movie. Now, have you guys seen Soul yet?
No.
So,
I'm sorry. I'm writing these things down because I'm a lot like you. I have like my 2 days a month where I just sit back and do nothing.
Yep.
And one of those days is coming up this Sunday.
Okay. So I would say this. I have an 8-year-old daughter. So anything animated, 9 times out of 10, I've already watched 4 times. At a limited 4 times. So anything Soul, Frozen 2, I think that came out this year. All of those types of movies, I've seen them, watched them over and over and over again. But Eric, I'll go to you. Give me one movie. I don't know how many you may have, or how many were your favorite, but give me one movie that was your favorite from this year.
Bad Boys for Life.
Yes, that's on my list.
Bad Boys for Life. That was one of the last movies that I saw before the theater shut down. I was waiting for the last Bad Boys to come out, which spoiler alert, I thought that it was going to be the last Bad Boys.
Nope. It is not.
But I was pretty excited. It was a good movie. It wasn't as good as the first, but sometimes the sequels are a little trashy.
Yeah.
I can honestly say that in my opinion, I don't think that Bad Boys for Life was trashy. I think that it was good. And it definitely led into a bigger story. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that was a good one. I seen that one twice. Believe it or not, I seen that one twice on the same day. Me and my wife had a free night, and we was like, "Hey, you want to go see it again?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go ahead and go see it again." So we seen that twice. I thought it was great. The one thing I will say is, as we're all getting older, the actors that we know and love are getting older too, and chubby. And I'm chubby, but Martin, I don't know how Martin did that full movie without passing out, because Martin is on the chunky side. But it was great to see, that nostalgia, that bringing back old movies that you want to see, or that characters that you're used to seeing. But A-Trap, have you seen Bad Boys?
Almost definitely. I enjoyed it. I didn't think I would enjoy it, to be perfectly honest with you. Fun fact about that with Martin had recently had back surgery.
Oh.
That's why he was so chunky.
Oh, okay.
Good to know.
Yeah, that's
good to know. I got to lay off.
No. He was chunky. I mean, had I not seen him on the Breakfast Club, I would have been like, man, Martin, slow down on the sandwiches, bro. So,
Hamburger sandwiches, whatever. And we got a couple of comments. I agree, Bad Boys for Life. A couple of people agreeing. Great storyline. The storyline was good because I was really intrigued to see how do you go about making a third movie, but especially the distance between the second movie and the third movie. What we talking about? At least 10 years, probably longer than that. But the amount of distance in between, to me, and that they were able to deliver, still a quality movie, to me was astounding. Being at the amount of distance, but then you had people that died in the movie. You had an unexpected son in the movie. I mean, it had some nice aspects to it, and then that's going to take you to the fourth. They said a fourth and a fifth one. I don't know about the fifth one, but
that might be
one of them has got to die in order for them to do a fifth one. That's
maybe they meant this kind of fifth.
Happy New Year.
All right.
Maybe. But I thought it was well put together. Some people go love and hate everything. That's just, it is what it is. That's life. But to be able to see them on the screen again together, I thought was great, and I'm looking forward to it. So Al High says, I'm ready for the next Bad Boy for Life. That one's probably gonna be called, I don't know, Bad Boy Forever. I don't know what you could call that one, but it's Will Smith's gonna be in it. Obviously, Martin's gonna be in it, and we'll see what the other characters are. All right, so I'm gonna give one of mine. We'll kind of go round robin. Hamilton. Now I know it was a musical. A-Trop's eyes. I know it was a musical, but I have to say, just the creativity of something like that, to be able to basically sing and rap like history, to me was crazy that they were able to do that, put that together for like an entire play. Again, I do have an 8-year-old daughter. She loves musicals, so we watched it. I was like, we'll see what it is. The creativity to me was top notch. Now the movie it was a play. They converted it to a movie, but this is on Disney Plus. On the look of you guys' faces, it sounds like you guys didn't watch that one.
That's correct, sir. That's a hard no.
So all right, we'll go to you, A-Trop. What was one of your favorite movies?
I was looking at my list now. Invisible. It was a pretty good movie. It was the Invisible Man. But it was high tech. Instead of a guy taking a potion to be the Invisible Man, this guy had he had CGI, and they put a totally different spin on it. Usually, it's the guy, he gets corrupt with his ability to disappear. This guy, a woman left him, and he used CGI. He put on a suit, and it made him invisible. And he was going around. He faked his death, and he was going around murdering people and setting his ex up. It's a pretty good movie.
That was deep. I did not see that one. I probably am gonna see it sooner or later. My wife wants to see it too, because I'm like, we might as well. The preview was like, okay, this is something that you want to watch. Overton Claiborne says the lady was crazy. They made her. Was she crazy, or did he make her look like she was crazy?
In my opinion, he made her look crazy. Well, at the end, they set it up that it could potentially be a sequel, but he pushed her over the edge. If she's crazy in the next one, he pushed her over the edge, because like at one point she's sitting at the dinner table at this restaurant with her sister, and her sister, she's telling him, look, I ain't crazy. Here's the situation. And he walks up, picks up a steak knife, and just slashes her sister's throat and throws the knife at her. And of course, she catches it. And she's in a restaurant filled with people, and it looks like she just reached down and cut her sister's throat.
Wow. I mean, Overton Claiborne says at the end is what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
He definitely pushed over the edge at that point.
Yeah, if you got somebody stalking you and you can't see them, and you're trying to convince somebody, that they can be seen, that's gonna make
No,
you look
no,
crazy.
he was allegedly dead at that point.
So he faked his own death.
It was like sleeping with the enemy inverted.
Okay.
You know, remember how she faked her death and skated, and then he found her. She left. He faked his death, left her everything. It was kind of the same house from Sleeping with the Enemy. It was a dope house, an ocean view. And then she's like, "No, I don't want to deal with him anymore." And then people start getting murdered around her. And she was so paranoid that she was living with I can't even think of this dude's name. He's in this show on Showtime called The City. He's the attorney. But anyway, I mean, hey, bro, it's worth the watch. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
It is definitely worth the watch.
Okay. I will definitely do that. Invisible Man, super dope, too graphic. All right, so I got quite a few on my list. The next one I'm gonna go to. This is a recent one. I'm a big comic book type of movie fan. There wasn't a lot of Marvel movies in 2020. The only ones that they really had, they had 2019 was the Avengers, and they had Endgame, and all of that was done very well. But they just basically took 2020 off. I think they did more so their TV and stuff like that. But Wonder Woman 84. This just came out on Christmas Day. I did see it. I got HBO Max, so that's and HBO Max is dropping so many movies. I would recommend it if you're interested and you're a movie buff, because they could be putting more movies on there. But Wonder Woman 84 had that nostalgia. I was born in 82, so I was only 2 years old at that point. But I get the fanny packs and all that kind of stuff was nice to see. The Gal Gadot, I think, is the perfect person for this role. I mean, she's already been doing it. They kind of brought back, the guy that was her love interest that died in the previous movie. Spoiler alert if you don't know already. They brought him back, and it was kind of a time machine type of thing. But I thought the storyline was good. It was good to see, if anybody's a fan of Saturday Night Live, Kristen Wiig, which is normally she plays funny roles. She played the villain, and she actually did a really good job. I was kind of shocked. I was like, okay, this is going to be, I don't know how she's going to be able to do this, but it was a nice transition, and I thought the movie was well done. The thing with DC is they have a hard time doing continuation movies. Like, they'll do one great one, and then it'll be like 4 years later, and they do the next one, but it does not connect. This one somewhat did connect. I think it's difficult though, because Marvel just is out of the roof as far as putting those movies together, connecting them, and having endings that connect to others. So I think for what it was, I think it was a pretty good movie. Did anybody see Wonder Woman 84?
I did.
What was your thoughts?
My thoughts, pretty much like you said, Ben. I like the slow turn of Kristen Wiig's character. Mm-hmm. She goes from this goofy, helpless to all of was getting attacked, and then all of a sudden she slowly just starts to turn. And I like that. Just something real simple. I wish I was like Diana Prince, spoiler alert. She had to save her from being attacked, and then the next thing her confidence starts to grow. Her little shape and stuff started, to come into play. Her body got like real tight, and all of a sudden her swag just changed.
Right.
And then the next thing it's like, okay, I'm thinking they're probably just gonna like work together. And the next thing she went from being, hey, I look up to her, to like, I'm better than her. Like, I don't need her. And then the next thing they was going at it. It's the first time I really ever saw Wonder Woman really get it put on her.
Right, really. Normally, she's like so much powerful than everybody else.
Understand that.
It's just like, oh, everything's I'm bigger and badder, so nobody can mess with me. But yeah, in this one, she had an equal, and actually, Kristen Wiig was better than her doing some aspects of the movie. Not gonna try to give too much of it away if you haven't seen it, but there was a power struggle, and she had to give something in order to get Chris Pine. I believe that's Chris Pine.
Yep.
Her love interest back. So. I would definitely say watch it. I think it was well done, especially with the delay. And there was so much of a delay. This movie was supposed to come out, I believe, during the summer, and it didn't end up coming out till Christmas. So there was so much of a delay, between the time it was supposed to come out and now. But A-Trap, did you see it?
I think me, you, and my man, I can't remember your name. I'm sorry. Ed. I think me, you, and Ed might be the only people in America that like this movie, man. Because everybody I talked to hated it. I'm with y'all, man. I enjoyed it. I like period pieces and that fanny pack thing. That was more late '80s. I'm 50. I was in '84. I was 14.
You know what? I was born in '71, so I hear you. We lived in the fanny pack era.
Yeah. That was like 88, 91 fanny pack. They rushed that fanny pack thing when nobody got no fanny packs. But,
other than Richard Simmons.
Yeah. Richard Simmons was killing it. He was killing it. But it's Richard Simmons. Nobody was like, hey, let me get my Richard Simmons game together.
Yeah.
But I'm with you guys, man. I liked it, and I'm not gonna do the spoiler alert theme. It's been on Max for about a month now. Sucks to be you if you haven't seen it. I liked it. Like I said, I think me, you, and Ed, the only three people in the world liked it. Everybody I talked to, they was like, no, man. Cheryl was like, oh, man. Everybody I talked to, they hated it. We must be on the three people that liked it. But I enjoyed it, man. But I'm a comic book nerd, I just bought the new. Well, I didn't just buy the new, but I just bought the Killmonger and the reissue of the Black Panther.
All right.
So
nice.
I'm a comic book nerd, so it was right up my alley.
Yeah, definitely. And it's Eric.
Yeah, but I'll be Ed.
No, Eric. I'm sorry, Eric.
I'll be Ed.
Make sure.
Hey, man, you know what? If I met you in person, I would blow that.
That's all right. Just don't call me Donald.
Yeah, that's a name that nobody should ever name their kid.
Yeah, I'm thinking that name probably going to go way down in a list of names.
Yeah. I haven't met a Donald in quite some time.
Yeah. Don Cornelius is probably the last Donald that I knew, and he didn't go by Donald. He went by Don.
Don, can't forget about Don Cheadle.
Yeah, Don
Cheadle too.
Okay, hey, he don't go Donald though. He dropped the old.
But yeah, Wonder Woman 84, and I know you're a comic book nerd, A-Trap, and just to kind of transition a little bit, the passing of Chadwick Boseman is major because they're in the process of making Black Panther 2. And they're not going to put him in the movie. I believe they're not. It's not going to be like a let's do some CGI or let's try to use some old shots. He won't be in the movie at all. And I wanted to kind of get you guys' thoughts on Black Panther 2 and what it's going to look like with him not being in it, and how does that continue on the legacy of that movie? I'll go with you first, A-Trap.
I don't have a problem with it because again, this is because the nerd I am. His sister has been Black Panther before. Killmonger comes back from the death several times in the series, so it's not unusual to have a different Black Panther.
Okay.
And if you ask me, I mean, nobody did, obviously, but if they really, I believe this would work. Do a prequel, because if you do a prequel, then you go to his dad being the Black Panther. And then you can get the search going for the new Black Panther, or use my man. I can't think his name right now. Ricky from Boys in the Hood, make him be the Black Panther.
Oh, Morris Chestnut.
Hey,
that would be interesting right there. I did not think about that, but I mean, the way Marvel does it, you could go any direction with this. Like you could go 5 years before, you could go 5 years after. All of their movies are so weirdly intertwined. I pulled up a list of how the movies transition, and it goes from like Iron Man to like Captain Marvel. I could be getting it wrong, but like Captain Marvel's somewhere in there with the top movies that came out like 10, 15 years ago. So it's they can really do anything, and I think that's a great idea. I did not think about that. But Eric, what's your thoughts?
If Michael B. Jordan had already been in Black Panther, he would have been great for Black Panther.
Right.
So I'm trying to think who is up there, with Chadwick in terms of, the build, the swag. You don't want them too old, and obviously you don't want them too young. If we were going to go young fellas with a little bit of seasoning, Michael Ramsey Jr. from Power probably would be a good one in a couple of years once he's developed his swag, because they got similar bills. I don't have a problem with Chadwick not being in it. I don't know if you guys remember when Paul Walker died in the Fast and the Furious, how it kind of tainted the movie, in my opinion. You know, honor him, mention him, let him have a moment during the movie, and then move on to the storyline. But don't cheapen the movie. Don't disrespect his legacy as Black Panther. You know, get somebody else. Does anybody know who they plan on putting in the role of Black Panther?
No, you know, they had those no disclosure agreements. So if you are part of the Marvel universe and you speak about it, you are no longer part of the universe.
Okay.
Wow.
Good.
Well, from what I read, the sister, I thought they were saying the sister was going to take over that role.
Yeah, I thought anyway. I thought she was going to do it anyway, because I know that in the comic book that's what happened, that she wind up taking over. So whether or not they're going to go that route, because then he was supposed to still been with the rest of the Avengers.
Right.
He was like second or third in charge of the Avengers.
Yeah, and see, that's the beauty in this thing, man. This whole Marvel universe, if it's filled with rabbit holes, man. Like the Falcon. I can't think of his name either. Aaron, somebody McKee, I think his last name.
He's supposed to be the new Captain America.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the new Captain America, but in the comics, him and the original Captain America comes to Wakanda, and T'Challa go, "Hey man, let me holler at you." And he sent him to his sister, and that's how he got those wings.
Okay.
Wow.
So, it's so many different ways. Shout out to Stan Lee, man, because Stan Lee was one of these guys who was not afraid to make Black folks a part of his get down, man, and I really appreciated that. As a kid, my cousin Craig, he's the one who turned me on to it. Craig was an insane artist, man. His mom used to literally go buy out the newspaper stand. She would walk up to it every month, whatever they got that new, she took it back to her son, and Craig would give, after a month, Craig would give me the comic books.
Wow.
So yeah, it's so many ways they can go. I mean, as you said, I don't want them to cheapen it at all.
Yeah.
You can follow the storyline and just, you know, like, you know, it's just so many directions. Hey man, get backstory on Killmonger, or bring Killmonger back from the dead. Manate, you know, build the story around the people. Like me and Joe from Houston, who's on my show tomorrow night, we were talking, and I was like, if these people really wanted to make some money, if they really wanted to invest in this, I would say you make a movie and then make it a series. You make a movie, then make it a series. At the end of the series, like, okay, Eric, the first movie is about Eric, and then make Eric the series, and then it's H-Rap introduced at the end of the series, then make it a movie, and then you know, I think they should do it that way, especially since we can't go anywhere. They would maximize their ability to tune to people. They
would, and I know they do have some, you know, TV aspects to kind of what, you know, the shows or the movies, but I don't know if they truly tap into that, because you could go, you know, leaps and bounds if you connect those together. So I definitely agree with you there. Overton Claiborne puts in you know, talking about documentaries, which I love documentaries too. Under the Grapefruit Tree, the CC Sabathia story. I actually watched that one the other night, and I didn't know, like, I thought I knew who he was because I grew up in the Bay Area. He grew up in Vallejo. So I just thought, oh, he was just a kid that played baseball. You know, his dad left. His dad died while he was playing, and he had a alcohol addiction, which I did not know that at all. So to me, that was a really good documentary. I love sports documentaries. The Last Dance, which I thought was golden. That happened, you know, last year. But the CC Sabathia story was good, especially if you're a baseball fan. It's something that you would want to watch if you're a sports fan, because you really got to see him. You got to see his life. and you got to see him like triumph throughout all of his different struggles. And he was an ace. Like you talk about a true ace in baseball. CC Sabathia was an ace wherever he went, and when he was with the Yankees, he was an ace for upwards of 10 years. I don't know if either one of you guys seen that one.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you seen it? So what would you think?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I felt the same way. I never. Yeah, I'm. You listen to my show. I got a left-hand bias. I'm left-handed. So
Yeah.
all you have to do is have a pulse and be left-handed. And I'm a root for you. And man, I never knew he was struggling with alcoholism. And then I remembered it like as I was watching it, like he did go into rehab, but he has such a presence and he has shown up so many times big that you just put it out of your head, like, whatever. And then he came back that playoff, so it doesn't stick in your head. Had he missed the whole playoff thing, it would have registered. But I loved it, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. I due to the current temperature of the world, the entire world has turned into a gossip column. I don't even like when people do their life stories anymore. Because I'm like, man, just keep it private. But after watching that, I was like, man, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, because it was him telling the story. It wasn't like someone else told the story about him. He was telling it, and he told all the details. He was like, I was drunk as soon as the game was over with. They handed me a Jack and Coke. Like as soon as I came into the dugout, he said he was drinking a Jack and Coke. Like I didn't know that. That's like the deep dark stuff that you don't know, but he came through it. So I was really happy with that one. That's a good one, OC. He said he grew up in the Crest and Vallejo, so it touched me. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. That's E40's from Vallejo as well. So anybody that knows E40, you know Vallejo. All right, so let's go A-Trap. Give me another one of your favorite movies of 2020.
Chicago 7.
It
was on Netflix. It was about the 68 Democratic Convention here in Chicago, Illinois, and basically it shows you the corruption in Chicago politics. It shows you the racism. It took a snapshot of 1968, 69, 70 and showed you that you hear me rail about it on a myriad of my shows, and when I appear on other people's shows and we talk about Chicago, people think, oh man, it's just like we live in Beirut, and it's just Chicago's probably the most corrupt city in America. Chicago is one of the put like this. Chicago, I haven't lived in other places, but I would bet Chicago, Illinois is the only city in America where the mayor of Chicago has more power than the governor of Illinois.
Wow. I would probably say you're right. If you look at any other city, yeah, you're probably right about that.
You go to LA, you go to Frisco, Oakland, New York, Miami, Dallas, or Houston. The mayor don't control anything. The mayor controls his municipality.
Right.
The mayor of Chicago controls Illinois.
Wow.
And I remember, to show you how corrupt the state of Illinois is in Chicago. 3 of the last 4 governors of Illinois are in the feds. One of them just got out. Trump got one of them out. You got 2. I mean, this is a corrupt place, and it's powerful, and it touched me as well because one of those rallies, my dad's life was taken. That was the beginning and the end of my dad. My dad was hit in the head in 1969 by a cop. He died in April of 70. I was born in August of 70. So it just, hey man, all I would say, if you haven't watched it, please watch it and understand that those people, as far as I know, did a great job. And I haven't talked to any of my elders, but it gives you a peek into Chicago that due to TV, all you know is people that look like us are violent. And that's not even the tip of the iceberg. There are over 200 street gangs here in Chicago.
Wow.
And
did not know that.
yeah. So it was a powerful piece, and the most eye-opening portion of the piece is when they tied Bobby Seals to a chair and gagged and duct taped his mouth closed in a courtroom.
Wow. In a courtroom, you said?
And the judge, Bobby Seals came into Chicago, spoke, and left. A riot ensued. They subpoenaed him, arrested him, and he kept saying, "I wasn't even there." And then they going on with the trial. He's like, "Why am I here?" And he kept professing, "What's going on?" And this racist judge was like, "Okay, you're in contempt of court." Took him to the back. He came back, chained to a chair, well, cuffed to a chair, taped to the chair, and like a towel duct taped over his mouth so he wouldn't speak anymore. So it was a powerful situation.
Man, that's next level, and that's deep. You're right. And I have not heard of that one, so I'm they're definitely another one to pull up and watch, man. And Netflix takes movies, documentaries to the next level. Everybody else is starting to catch up. Netflix has been doing this for the past 4 or 5 years, maybe longer, and they put out like detailed documentaries and movies that you have never heard of, that you never even knew was going to come out, and they just drop it on a random Tuesday. Like, they don't care. There's no like major premieres or whatever. Some of them they may, but they just drop it, and like their stuff is so detailed that Netflix is something that you got to have, and it's only $9. So, and you can go half and half with somebody if you wanted to. So I mean, like, it's like $4.50. So
You're smart.
Definitely. All right, so Eric, we'll go to you. Give me another favorite movie.
It's not necessarily a movie, but you actually just brought it up a few minutes ago, The Last Dance.
Yes.
You know what? Right when the pandemic hit, that's when it dropped, and you couldn't wait for the next edition of The Last Dance to come out. Me being from Detroit, I was particularly interested in the Piston Bulls rivalry.
Right.
Michael Jordan, much to his credit, he and Isaiah Thomas, they definitely have a rough history, to say the least. But the amount of respect that he had for him as a competitor, yeah, that really surprised me. And also, man, Michael Jordan was just like a straight up bully.
Really?
He was a straight up bully to his own teammates. I would have swerved on Mike. I'm like, man, what? I don't care if he was the greatest player in the world. He just straight out pardon the expression, hold him out of his teammates. It's like, man, really? It's like, I mean, personally, me being from Detroit, I was born in East Chicago. But me being from Detroit, if he would have tried some stuff like that with me, man, I would have been thrown out of the league, man, because they would have had to arrest me, doing a lot of those practices. Yeah. There's only two people who really didn't bother. That was Pippen, and then it was Dennis Rodman. But Dennis Rodman really didn't know he was being picked on because he was crazy anyway.
Yeah, he didn't care.
Right. And so, just some of the stories, Rodman going out there, I think it was like to Las Vegas for Carmen Electra, and Jordan hops on a jet, knocks on the door. It's time for you to get your ass, and we need to go win. We need to go win this game. That takes some stones. And Mike would have been hurt doing some of them things. He had no business, going out in the middle of a season anyway, doing, little random trips. But man, for a cat to come and stalk you and no.
Jordan had that power. And the one thing I learned is Jordan holds every last grudge. Every last grudge, no matter who it is. I knew he was competitive, but I didn't know it was to that degree. That he was picking on Eldred Baylor or Eldred Bradford, like the sixth man on the Bullets back in the day. Like, that was just his mentality. And you see that he carried that in every part of his life. That's how the Jordan brand got so big, is because he pushed it to get that big, and because people loved it because he was Michael Jordan. But that was a very well done documentary. That was probably the longest that I've seen Michael Jordan talk ever. I mean, you got it in clips and everything, and he even got emotional during a certain point in time, and it was about winning. It wasn't about his family, it wasn't about his kids. It was like his passion for winning. So I loved it. I loved it. All right, A-Trap, what was your thoughts?
He's gonna be shocked. During that period, I was a Piston fan because I'm from the west side of Chicago, and Isaiah Thomas. Okay, here's the deal. I like facilitators first and foremost. I am a Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd, Scottie Pippen kind of guy. I like facilitators. Isaiah Thomas is my favorite player ever. And when I was 10, I moved to the north side of Chicago. I'm there a year. Isaiah Thomas and Mark Aguirre gets drafted. I used to see Mark Aguirre in my neighborhood all the time because I live near DePaul University. The day that they were drafted, the draft wasn't what it is today, where you fly to New York and then it's a big deal. Converse sent Isaiah Thomas and Mark Aguirre to my neighborhood, and they handed out sneakers and T-shirts the day that they were drafted. When the cameras went away, Mark and Isaiah hung out. They just was like, hey, what's up? They bought food. They hung out with us. So I became Isaiah Thomas' #1 fan from that day because they were not treating us like the poor little kids. Because, hell, they were still poor at the end of the day.
True.
And they were just hanging out. So it's 1981. Coolest guys in the world to me are Mark Aguirre and Isaiah Thomas. And so by the time Michael Jordan gets here 3-4 years later, it's like, I'm an Isaiah Thomas guy.
Right.
It's like, and it was like, okay, well, yeah, dude, big time. But, it's almost like I know this guy, though. So I was never, and then I promised myself I wouldn't become a Bulls fan until they fell off. And when they fell off, I became a fan. It was like, I'm not going to just jump on the bandwagon because I was Isaiah Thomas fan. But I had heard rumors about those things. When you're living in Chicago, I'm quite sure Eric has heard rumors about what Isaiah Thomas and those guys used to do. And I have family in Detroit, so I've heard things like ballot box stuff and making sure Isaiah Thomas on the All-Star team every year, things like that. But you heard things about Jordan, and I don't really, me personally, I don't have an issue with how Michael Jordan conducted himself. I didn't think he was a bully. It looked like a bunch of the locker rooms I had been in, Of course, I was the dude who was doing the picking on, but
that explains it.
but it was in fun, man. That's why more than Michael Jordan, like I look back at remember that football player got run out the league because what's his name? The big racist white guy was picking on him. We were pushed to a point, and I think they didn't show that enough. But like you see Scott Burrell, it's like, no, he's my boy, and I think that was just trash talk that we're not privy to. So I thought it was an awesome series. I really enjoyed it, but being from Chicago and rooting against Jordan all those years.
It was an awesome series. And what I mean by Jordan was a bully, it's like what he says goes. And there's very few people that can talk to Mike at a certain level. Maybe Pippen was probably the closest. Obviously Phil Jackson is Phil Jackson. He was just so laid back. He was like, you know what, y'all go out and do whatever it is y'all do. As long as y'all win, I really don't care.
Al Davis, just win, baby.
Yeah, so just go out and win. And when Phil Jackson, when they wanted to get rid of him, Mike was like, well, if Phil ain't here, I ain't here. So, he was like that daddy figure, especially after Mike when he lost his dad. And, there was a lot of things. Looking at my co-host, James said what it says, Jordan gave his all in, demanded the same from his teammates. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But some people aren't strong enough to handle a very heavy, demanding teammate. Or some people, even if they're good, they crumble in the presence of greatness. So Pip was one of the few that didn't. Of course, he had to be developed because the Pistons did give him those migraine headaches. And crazy enough is that, it took some Pistons in order to get the Bulls over the hump because Rodman was there. They took James Edwards from our. So, Mike was smart enough to know, like, hell, I'd rather have them join them because they could potentially beat me. So you really want to talk about the formation of super teams? Let's go back to the Chicago Bulls. That was the first formation of a super team. You always had a big three, a big four even, because, Jordan and Pippen were the cornerstones. And then you had Rodman, then Tony Kukoc, then Ron Harper. So Grant was there.
Williams.
Yeah.
Brian Williams, Bison Day.
Yep. So
Brian Williams, the coolest name in sports in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, Bison Day. He was with the Pistons too. God rest his soul.
No. Brian Williams. That's my name, Brian Williams.
It was Brian Williams in Chicago. He was Bison Day in Detroit.
Yeah, he's Bison Day in Detroit. No, I said that's the coolest name in sports, seeing how it's my name.
Of course.
And the one thing about shout out to James Montgomery, co-host of the Ear Hustling podcast. Also, we got Christian Bligo. We said these guys just seem like cool guys to hang out with, and I said we are cool to hang out with. You're hanging out with us right now, so we appreciate that. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you, Christian.
One thing that Steve Kerr was the only one that stood up to Jordan, and he respected it. That's the thing too. Kind of to your point, Eric, is like, and A-Trap, is that he wanted the best out of you, and he actually wanted you to stand up to him. So he kind of was like a bully, because when you stand up to the bully, they respect you. So Steve Kerr was like, I'm not backing down. And you see who hit that game-winning shot, against the Jazz. It was Steve Kerr, because he gained, his trust. So that was the other aspect of Jordan and seeing Kerr. And also I love the aspects that they had with Kerr. They had one with Rodman. He had kind of like one whole episode. Pippen had one whole episode. You got to see, his family. And I wanted a little bit more of BJ. I was a BJ Armstrong fan because I was short like BJ. Some people call me BJ sometimes. So I was like, give BJ some more film time. But he talked about how he got that one good game, and then Jordan was like, okay, yeah, that was nice. Now we about to take care of y'all. So that was but it was really well done, man. I was rushing home. At that time, I was working a part-time job. So on Sundays, I would be like trying to leave early. Like, I got to get home to watch The Last Dance. And it was like, what's that? Look it up. Don't worry about it. I know I got to go. Yo. So, man, that was, we did YouTube videos recapping each of the 2 episodes. My dad was on as well. Me and him were big Jordan fans. So really, getting everybody had a piece in watching this. If you were at the beginning, the end, the middle, or if you didn't know who Jordan in the 97, 98 Bulls were, you got a history lesson. And then you can compare that to now. You can see the difference between back then and now.
I only had one issue with it, and I had the same issue with most things that cover the Pistons. This is not because I'm a Piston. I'm a Piston guy. I don't like the way they make the Pistons out to be just this group of thugs who was playing basketball with pistols under their jerseys almost. The entire league was playing like that, man. I mean, they had D-Great, God rest his soul's cousin, Maurice Lucas, was known as an enforcer. I've been watching sports my entire life. Maurice Lucas finished 4th in MVP one year. I've never seen him hit a bucket. I've seen him knock people down, but I've never seen Maurice Lucas lay a basketball. So I just don't like it the way they dress the Pistons up as this group of dudes. They just play psychological basketball.
Yeah.
There was no cheap shots, and they would try to punk you out. And then when the playoffs start, they just outplay you. You came to fight, and they like, okay, fight. We gonna kill you. And I'll continue to be upset with that. James Worthy, as far as I've seen, is the only person to go on record and say it wasn't the Heat, because on the 30 for 30 with the Pistons on ESPN, they had James Worthy was on there for about 6 seconds, and he was like, the Pistons? We worried about the Celtics. They were the dirtiest team in the league. And I was like, oh, thank you, James. You know, it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't like, that's the only thing I didn't like about this thing. And the fact that nobody wanted to, Jordan was a snitch. Jordan snitch. the cocaine and liquor girls. Nobody wants to talk about that.
And you make a good point. Yeah, during that time, there wasn't a lot of like clean teams, and they were doing all these, ticky tack, reaching, stupid fouls that they call now. You were getting clotheslined. There wasn't no, I'm just gonna stand in the way and try to take a charge. Nah, you were getting clotheslined and you was gonna be bloody. There's images of Doc Rivers going at somebody. That image of what was that? Rudy Tomjanovich got punched in the nose that time.
Yeah.
Even Rick Carlisle was out there getting busy. I mean, like everybody, it really didn't matter unless you were Jordan. Really, I never really seen Jordan get into a fight. I know, and then they became the Jordan rules. They talked about that too. But yeah, everybody was getting it. It wasn't like right. Let's just play basketball for fun. No, you're gonna get clothesline.
Well, hey, I love that era of basketball. James will tell you, James over there been taking shots at me, but hey, I'm like this, man. You know what? You want to come out here and you want to come driving to the basket and you want to think this is a come fly with me video? No, no, absolutely not. Just a real quick story. There was one time James and I were playing basketball at this spot in Detroit called Basketball City. Me and him were opposing guys. Now, James and I are both over 6 foot. So, we're some pretty tall, big guys. But James is real stocky, like an offensive lineman type, stocky, like just solid. So James goes and sets a pick for one of his teammates, and they're getting ready to do like a kind of sort of a pick and roll sort of deal. I couldn't get past James, so I pushed James into his teammate. And the ball goes flying out of bounds. And James, his teammates are looking at him like, what are you doing? And James just was like, you know what, forget it. But that was psychological basketball though. Because now that's like a couple of plays later, James goes to go set a pick. He just like waves the pick off like, nah, bro. Like, no, I'm good. I'll figure it out myself.
Yeah. You're right. Shout out to Taryn Rodriguez. Thank you for coming through. Oh, go ahead.
Hey, Ben, let me tell you something, man. At one point, Sidney Moncrief had an appointment to beat the hell out of Jerry Sting on the Celtics annually. It wasn't a playoff unless Sidney Moncrief beat up Danny Ainge or Jerry Sting. It was not a playoff. Every year, for about 4 years, he beat up one of them. So that's why I just like, y'all really gonna hang all this on the Pistons, man?
Yeah. They always, man. Anytime the Pistons come up, the next word that comes, or the words that come before that, is bad boys. It's never like the Detroit Pistons of the 80s. No, it's the bad boy Pistons. That's it. That's all they ever say. They don't ever give no backstory. They just get at those 3 words. But shout out to Taryn Rodriguez. He said he was. Oh, he said he was lucky. Yeah. He said he was lucky to not miss The Last Dance despite working 30 to 40 hours at a grocery store at a summer job. I hear you, man. That was must-watch TV. You had to watch that. You had to do whatever it took. If you was watching it at work or whatever you was doing, no flops. You literally got knocked out. You're right, James. Coming to the hole, Charles Oakley, Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahone, Kevin McHale. Exactly. The list goes on. And then I didn't realize Charles Oakley was with the Bulls during the early days. And then when Charles Oakley left, Jordan didn't have that, like, who had my back, and then that's when Rodman came in.
Yeah, he didn't have that in force. So Horace Grant was a great player. He wasn't about that life. No. I think what made the Pistons unique is that you had all these black dudes and Laimbeer.
And Laimbeer was clotheslining.
Man, Laimbeer was a monster, but you know what? He mastered the mental game of human chess, because Larry Bird couldn't stand Bill Laimbeer, still can't stand him to this day. There were stories with some documentaries about Larry Bird that every time that him and Bill Laimbeer would make the All-Star team, he says that Larry's sitting in the locker room, Laimbeer comes in, he's like, "What's up, Larry?" He like, "F you, Laimbeer." He's like, that was their greeting. But he did say that Lambeer was a hell of a coach, and that if he could have him as a teammate, he definitely would. But he was he couldn't stand him, though. But you know what? Larry Bird was notorious too, though, for doing a lot of trash talking. He said he was one of the top 5 trash talkers in the history of the NBA. But with Bird, you know what? Man, it was like athleticism was like virtually nothing. But the dude was smart. He was cagey. And I still don't know how Larry Bird did the things he did, not turning this into a sports show, but I don't know how Larry Bird did the things. I've never seen a person do more with less in my life.
I'm telling you, man. Hey, just give you an idea of being what I was saying. Rick Mahorn, when he was with the Bullets, he said Isaiah Thomas was a rookie. He said he saw Isaiah Thomas. He hated him. He saw all that smile, and he said, I'm going to get him. And he said Isaiah Thomas drove to the hole and laid the ball up and on the way down, Rick Mahorn gave him an elbow. He said Isaiah didn't even look at him. And he said the next time up the court, Isaiah Thomas drove to the hole, elbowed Rick Mahorn and laid it up. He said they've been friends ever since. Oh, I like this guy. I mean, it was the game, and that's the only thing I don't like. It's like y'all try to make this thing a bad boys thing, and it was the whole league. It was literally, I can remember Dick Stockton. The no layup rule has started today, the first day of the playoffs on CBS.
Yep, the New York Knicks, Xavier McDaniel, Patrick Ewing, Derek Harper, John Starks. Now them boys were Oakley. Oakley was there.
Yep.
Mark Jackson.
Warner, Larry Johnson. I'm telling you, man, you driving to the hole, like you said, this ain't gonna be the highlights. You're not gonna put me on George Michael Sports Machine, you know.
Right. You get knocked out. That's gonna be on the highlight.
And then just when you think it's getting ready to come, then they go stick somebody like Joe Dumars on you, who can lock you up without touching you.
Yep.
So now what you gonna do? Mm-hmm. You got 11 guys who thugged out in Joe D.
And they all can actually play.
Yeah, very talented. I mean, Vinny Johnson coming off our bench.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know how in the world Vinny would hit those leaners, but he was so big. Yeah. You don't get Vinny Johnson's way. That dude's neck and arm, that dude's body was like a rock. As a matter of fact, that's the only time I ever seen Jordan foul out of a game when they played against the Pistons. They put Jordan on Vinny Johnson, and Vinny Johnson fouled out Michael Jordan. I'll never forget it. I've never seen him foul out of a game, but he could not guard Vinny Johnson.
Because I remember that. I remember those games. It was back-to-back games, and he was woofing about. Can't nobody, like Adrian Dantley used to eat the Bulls for lunch, and Mike was like, "It's gonna take me to stop him." In the middle of the third quarter, Mike was like,
"Not tonight."
Put Scotty back on him.
Yeah, he said he couldn't stop him. He actually said the words, "I couldn't stop him."
Yeah,
never heard.
That's rare. Yeah,
I was like, that's what it bothers me. It's like you said, I don't want to make it a sports show, but
nah, you good. Hey, we conversating.
It's all about respect, man. Respect the game, man.
Right. All right, let's we're talking about movies. You know, we've been talking about The Last Dance was a great documentary. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your life? Make sure you go watch that. That's your homework assignment before the next show. But getting back into the movies, The Five Bloods, Spike Lee joint. Spike Lee, I don't care if you don't like him, but every time if you watch one of his movies, they're never the same, and they always have that underlining story. And like you like laugh, cry, and like cheer, like all in the same movie. The way he does it is so great. He's a Morehouse man too. I went to Morehouse, so I got all love and respect for Spike Lee even before my Morehouse days. But that was one of the last movies of Chadwick Boseman. Number one, number two, Delroy Lindo. The role that he played, for him to have to play that role, I don't know what type of research he did. I don't know what he did to get in that type of mindset, but he played the heck out of that role, knowing that he's not a Trump supporter, if you guys haven't seen it yet, but knowing that he's not a Trump supporter, and just seeing the layout of the movie, it was. I thought it was great. It was on Netflix. I believe it's still on there.
Mm-hmm.
But A-Trap, I seen you shaking your head. Give me your thoughts and opinions on the Five Bloods.
Everything you said, man, it was awesome. It was super. My favorite part is the Five Bloods are the names of the Temptations.
Really?
Yeah. If you listen to the names, those are the Temptations. Oh, yeah, I guess y'all pick up on it.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know what? I haven't even seen it yet. Man, I'm not gonna have a life looking at all these movies.
Yeah, man, it's the names of the Temptations, and like you say, man, Spike always give you something like fun fact. Another fun fact: the Black Panther made his cinematic debut in a Spike Lee movie. Remember, in Do the Right Thing, and Bugging Out was like, "We ain't eating that sounds no more." Homie held up a Black Panther comic book and said, "If the Black Panther eating that sounds, we eating that sound." Spike always, Spike, man. I saw an interview recently. He called himself Negro Dominus.
He's right though.
If you watch my movie, something always come up. And I was watching it the other night, and dude said, "I was like, oh, like, well, yeah, man, that Five Bloods is awesome. I will watch it 3 more times. If I thought about it, I would have watched it again already. It was a great movie. Great movie.
Yeah, and I know the thing about Netflix too, though, is some stuff is on there and then it's gone. So I don't know if that was the limited viewing or if it's still on there or not. I'm gonna have to go look at it. I think it looks like it's still on there. But it was 2 hours and 35 minutes, but the storyline was good. The actors, it was good. And then, fast forwarding and you see that Chadwick Boseman passed. To me, it made that movie even more meaningful because he was in it. And also you got to see that one of the actors was kind of critical of Chadwick, but he didn't know what Chadwick was going through. And it sounds like nobody knew, which to me that shows the degree of a person to where he's not like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. I may be over here doing this, or I may not be here, I may not be in it, and but he it didn't seem like he portrayed that at all. So that made that movie even more meaningful to me, knowing that was one of his last appearances, and he was kind of really the focal point of the movie. That's they were looking to find him. So
awesome.
I agree. Chadwick's story, was amazing. I think that you made a very good point, Ben. Only his inner circle knew, and with the way that everybody likes to, drop spoiler alerts, like to put people's business out there, like, hey, this is what's going on with Chadwick. You didn't hear anything about that, and it just shows the degree of respect that they had for him, and also, kudos to him. Between him, and not to turn this into another segment, but between him and Alex Trebek, with what Trebek was going through when he passed away with Jeopardy, and him, those two symbolizes like, hey, you know what? It's not about me. I'm here to do my job. Yeah, I'm sick. I'm choosing to do my job. I just want to do my job and then go about my business. So, you know what? Big ups to Chadwick. I'm looking forward to the movie. I know that it just came out maybe like a month ago.
The Five Bloods. You may be thinking about May's.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottoms.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the Five Bloods came out in June, so that was
okay.
That was a little while ago.
Okay.
A shout out to my guy Geekly Goods, man. Make sure to subscribe to this dude's channel. I'm doing this movie show tonight, but he does something on almost every movie. Really great content. So I'm gonna give him a shout out. He's jumping through. What was your favorite movie as you're coming through in the show tonight? Drop your favorite movie. Anybody else listening, drop your favorite movie from 2020. But all right, Eric, give me another favorite one from last year.
I didn't do a lot of, maybe saw about 5 or 6 movies. Most of them weren't really all that great, but I was mainly doing a lot of series. Okay. That's about the extent of the movies that I had. But one movie that I was interested in, Ben, you saw a lot of kids movies, and my little ones, they saw this with their mom, is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, the remake with Jim Carrey. I did not see that.
I didn't see
but
that
anytime Jim Carrey's in something, which he's starting to get back into movies. I thought I heard they're gonna do another Ace Ventura, if I wasn't mistaken, and another Mask. So like Jim Carrey must be kind of on the back on the hunt for the movie tip. But yeah, Sonic was the first game on Sega. When you first got your Sega Genesis, that was the game that came with it. So you played it unless your parents bought you another game, which mine didn't. So I had Sonic. So I don't. You got to deal with Sonic for the next year or so, a couple months, and then you can get the next game you want. But yeah, I did not see that one, but that's something on the list that I want to check out. My nephew's a big Sonic fan, so that's something I have to watch. All right, H back to you.
Man, I was gonna go with Ma Rainey's, but when he said series, it made me think about this epic series. Well, it's not a movie though, but it's a docu-series. I think everybody should watch it though. It's called Enslaved from Samuel Jackson. Please watch it. Do yourself a favor. It is the second reason we started the Couch Potato Show. It's a docu-series on ethics called Enslaved. It is excellently done. It's by Samuel. It starts off with Samuel Jackson tracing his family back to the very tribe he was from in Africa.
Wow.
And then it proceeds to blow your
mind from there.
I'm talking, man. It's okay. Put it like this. I'll give you two things that kind of. It wasn't one of them. One of them isn't mind. Well, three things. One of them isn't mind blowing. It was just like, wow. The first thing is 45% of the people that was taken from the continent live in Brazil.
Really?
Brazil has the largest black population outside of the continent.
Wow.
Did not know that.
It is a pit in Brazil in which they burn 30,000 brothers and sisters. Like you would go over there and die, they throw you in this pit, and when the pit gets full, they burn it. And when you can go to the pit today, and you can see fossilized skeletons. And then the third thing, the third and fourth thing. The third thing is it's an African town in Alabama, started by our ancestors. And the fourth thing is the banjo is an African instrument. That's why I was like, what? The banjo. But it was a powerful series, man.
That's deep.
It was insanely powerful, man.
I'm gonna have to watch that. Kind of speaking of that, along those same lines, there was a documentary. It was this was on, I think it was on Amazon Prime, but it was Samuel Jackson was narrating it, but it was about let me see if I can find it while I'm talking right now. But he was the narrator in this documentary. Man, if I could find this, I'll have to come back to it. But I thought it was, it talked about Medgar Evers, it talked about Martin Luther King, and it talked about like the impacts of their deaths and like what that did, to the black community. Okay, it's called "I'm Not Your Negro," and it was James Baldwin. It was based on an unfinished manuscript. Remember This House by James Baldwin, and this really, it had aspects to a lot of stuff that we knew with Jim Crow, what happened in the South, the water hoses, and those things that were senseless and didn't make any sense to do to a human. But also it gave a little bit of deeper depth. And James Baldwin was in it was kind of like a documentary, him sitting down and answering questions and talking about it. But that was a good one to definitely watch. And I believe it's on Amazon Prime. But those are those type of movies that it's probably going to hurt when you watch it because you know what happened to your ancestors or to the people before you. But it's good to know like the background and the different aspects of it. So Geekly Good says, thanks for the shout out. My top three are Minari, Sound of Metal, and The Five Bloods, Bad Boys for Life. Tenet made it in my top 10 as well. I did not see Tenet, but from what I've seen in a lot of the previews, it looks really good. It looks like Inception. If anybody's seen Inception, where they were like traveling throughout their dreams and stuff like that. But I need to see Tenet. Number one, because I gotta support Denzel Washington's son. John David Washington. He's a Morehouse man as well, and he's been getting some good roles. And then, kind of funny story, kind of a side note. He would, when he would go to movie roles, he would shy away from saying that Denzel was his dad, even though that that maybe would have possibly got him a role. But I think they were saying like he didn't write his dad's name on something or something like that to kind of separate him from his dad. Which you got to respect that, because everybody's gonna know who his dad is. But Tenet, did any of you guys see Tenet, A-Trap?
No, I haven't seen it. I know some people who have seen it and they loved it.
Yeah, so that's something that I'm gonna have to see. All right, going on to, you brought it up, A-Trap. Let's go ahead and talk about it. This was released last month, May Rainey's Black Bottom, which is based on a play. The name of the playwriter,
August
Wilson. And this was Chadwick Boseman's last time on film. And the way they, at first I'm thinking, are they going to change like scenes? But they pretty much stayed in that one. They were basically going to record a song, and Viola Davis, which was Ma Rainey, was there recording the song. But the whole movie was there, but it's based on a play. So in a play, you don't have like 4 or 5 different spots. You got one spot most of the time, or a couple different spots. But the depth in the movie, and it was deep. It wasn't like just a simple like plain movie where there's no depth. It was deep, and then you really got to see Chadwick Boseman at another level. I don't know if I've seen him in like the pain that he displayed in this movie. Just showed his depth and his greatness. But A-Trap, did you seen it?
Yes. I'm a big fan of August Wilson. August Wilson is a playwright that wrote a play for every decade of the 20th century. Another fact about August Wilson is August Wilson dropped out of high school because he said it was too racist. Went and got a GED and pretty much read the library. And he makes plays speak to us. I'm sure other coaches may say this, but like it's certain things that, like, you from Oakland, my man is from East Chicago / Detroit, and I'm from Chicago. And it's certain things that if we just all three of us walked into a room, we would know little nuances about being black that nobody has to explain to us. He speaks in that language, like ain't got no. And you heard the slang and like you said, like the terminology conversate. We didn't pass that around like, hey, make sure you say conversate. But when you black, it's just certain things you say that aren't acceptable in the mainstream world. And August Wilson purposely writes his plays with that dialect to reach out and touch you. So Fences is his last thing. Denzel Washington took home his entire catalog. So you'll continue to see those things because Denzel Washington, he's producing them.
Yeah. Awesome. And that's the great thing about Denzel now at this point in his career, is that he can still act, obviously, but he can step back now and produce these works that we want to see or that he wants to get out. And like you're saying with August Wilson, I think that's great. And man, Denzel's legacy, obviously, in acting and beyond. And it sounds like the story was that Denzel in this movie, Denzel told Chadwick, "You better make an honest woman out of his now wife." And so that, I think, was integral in him marrying his wife before he ended up passing, which makes the story of his death even more interesting and deep. So yeah, that was another one. So Eric, any other series? You can say a series or a documentary or something else that you've seen that kind of inspiring or entertaining.
man, inspired and entertaining. There was goodness gracious. You know what? Has anybody ever seen? I guess we'll go back to Epic. Bumpy Johnson, Godfather of Harlem.
I didn't. I have not seen that one.
Oh man, let me tell you something. Godfather of Harlem is probably one of the probably 10 best shows that I've probably seen series wise over the last like 10 years. Forrest Whitaker plays Bumpy Johnson, and it has quite a dynamic. It's based during the civil rights movement. You've got Bumpy Johnson, who's a gangster. You've got Malcolm X, who is in there, and I forgot what was the guy who played G Money and goodness, I can't think of his name. He played G Money in New Jack City. Can't remember his name, but that's the actor.
Alan Payne.
Huh?
Alan Payne.
Thank you, Alan Payne. I mean, it just highlights things on so many different levels. How the civil rights movement wasn't really so cut and dry. You had clean money, you had dirty money, coming together. You had rivals, that would become allies, and then later on, there's a lot of backstabbing that's going on. You had white folks that were low key trying to help the movement. You had black people that were trying to kill the movement. It's deep.
Wow.
It's deep.
Yeah.
Organized crime.
Yes, organized crime, like you say, running the city. I mean, it was just like so deep, and I'm like, Forrest Whitaker. I ain't heard from Forrest in a minute. But then when you watched him play Bumpy Johnson, you felt it. His backstory of why he went to jail, how he wound up getting out of jail, the things that happened. Man, it's pretty deep. So I gravitated towards that series before the pandemic, and that was one of the first things that I started binge watching when I wound up having some extra time. Obviously, I don't even need to talk about Power Book 2 Ghost.
Yeah.
That right there, whew, very, very powerful. Shout out to Mary J. Blige and Method Man.
Yeah.
Because Mary J, to me, I don't think Mary J is acting. I think that's Mary J.
And believe it or not, I have not seen any bit of Power.
Oh, come on, you're the Godfather, man. But I know there's only 24 hours in a day. But let me tell you something. Mary J, from her swag to the way she dressed, when she's talking, you feel it. To me, I don't think it's Mary J is not acting in that movie. I'll put it that way. Yeah. Everybody know that she's from I think she's from Brooklyn.
Yonkers.
Yeah, and Mary J ain't no joke.
Yeah, you're probably right. That is probably the real Mary J. And shout out to 50 Cent. That's his thing, right? He produced it and everything.
Yep, that's 50. That's 50 saying Method Man got to get a shout out to Meth.
Meth, man. He is so underrated as far as acting. It's not even funny. The stuff that he's in, like he was in a movie, neither one of y'all probably seen it, but he was in a movie called Cobbler with Adam Sandler on Netflix. Like
check it out.
So in the movie, Adam Sandler was a cobbler. It's a guy that fixes shoes, and any shoes that he put on, he became that person. So he put on like Method Man's shoes, and he became Method Man. And Method Man was in the movie for like a period of time. So, and that I think that's a part of Adam Sandler's. Adam Sandler must have got like a 10 movie deal with Netflix because he's had movie after movie after movie. I got respect for Adam Sandler, man. He does his thing. He'll be goofy. He was in one. He was in. Okay, let's. I don't know if this was 20. I'm going on a side note. I don't know if this was 2020 or 2019, but Uncut Gems. Did either one of you guys see that one?
I fell asleep on it because I don't know how to go to bed, so I turned the movie on at 2 o'clock in the morning. I stayed out. It was pretty good for what I saw. Yeah.
So Uncut Gems was a movie where he was a jeweler, but he was in debt. I mean, like I never ever seen him in a role like that. It was not funny at all. It was funny because he was getting beat up all the time, but he was not trying to be funny.
Right.
And so I respected him for that one. KG was in it. KG had his acting debut. KG wasn't bad. So that's another one that was from 2019. So that's another one to check out.
KG, Kevin Garnett, KG?
KG, Kevin Garnett was in it.
Wow, okay.
And the cat that's this dude is in a lot of things. I'm gonna pull up his name. He was in Atlanta, the TV show Atlanta. He was also in. He had a weird movie called like I don't know, like it was based in San Francisco. I think it was called I Don't Mean to Bother You. What's this guy's name? I'm gonna pull up his name here right now. But this Lakeith Stanfield. If y'all know who that is, man, this dude being a whole
That's the guy from Get Out.
Yes, the guy that was bleeding from his nose, him.
Oh wow.
Look up his IMDb one day. This dude's got tons of movies.
I got one for you. Since you brought up series, and this might be the best series. Like he said, he enjoyed Godfather Harlem more than he enjoyed anything in a very long time. What's the name? Lovecraft Country.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Hey, Lovecraft Country. You know how you watch a series and it's always that one episode that you go, what? This series does not have that episode. This series is so good that you literally have to pay attention to all the dialogue. If you literally, I mean, and I'm not exaggerating even this much. If you're doing this, you will miss something that is key to 3 episodes down the road. It gives you suspense. It gives you drama. It's a love story. It's sci-fi, Black history at its finest. The show starts off with them identifying why the White House is painted white.
Wow, it starts off that way,
right? Because they on this road trip, and then they go on a road trip, and they go into this whites only restaurant, and they start talking. And dude said, "No, why did you say the White House is white again?" And it explains sundown towns. For those who don't know, a sundown town is a town in the South in which, by the time the sun goes down, if you look like us, you better not be in that town. I mean, it shows you the first woman to ride across the country in a motorcycle. It covers Emmett Till. It covers Chicago during that Emmett Till time. It's powerful. It's biblical. I'm telling you, if you don't have 60 minutes to watch each episode, don't watch it. Because
what was the name of it again?
Lovecraft Country.
Wow.
The same sister that made Underground, she made that.
Wow. I've seen it, and I've seen people talking about it on Facebook and commenting. It's on HBO, right?
It's on HBO. Trust me, if you cannot, you got to put your kids to bed, and
can't be playing around with this one. Huh?
You can't be on your. Oh man, no, because they'll say some things, and you'll be like, and then in an episode, when did they say that? And then you'll go back 3 episodes. Oh, that's what they meant. And
I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's awesome, man. I mean, hey, put it like this. You know how we all love The Wire and those kinds of shows?
Mm-hmm.
It's Lovecraft Country's couple slots, Godfather Harlem, and then the rest of those shows.
Wow.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. I'm talking about they bring in God, they bring in Black history. It's a love story. It's a feminist movement, time travel, sci-fi, everything. Put like this. It was this one scene at the very beginning, and I wasn't paying attention. And I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'll give you the scene I'm talking about. This guy digs his way out of the ground, and I was like, "What?" And I went back and watched that episode again, and it's literally because I did like this, like, "Oh man," you know how you just
right.
Around, you're watching TV because you think the dialogue. Yeah, I'm listening, but I'm paying attention. I missed literally 20 seconds, and I was like, "So how did he end up coming out?" And then I watched it again, and it showed him running from somebody, and went through a tunnel under the ground.
Wow. I love those types of movies and TV shows because I mean it catches you and you got to pay attention. Kind of and DJ Knox says Lovecraft Country is based on an actual secret society. Wow, did I know that? He also says check out Peppermint on Netflix. Method did his thing on that too. Okay. Yeah, Meth is more of a, if you don't know his rap history, he's like could be more of an actor to some people than he is a rapper. And you gotta be pretty young to not know Method Man, Wu-Tang and everything. But another series, as we're talking about series, Ozark. I found out about Ozark last year. Ozark is one of those, is Jason Bateman. And I'm like, okay, what is this going to be? Because Jason Bateman is really he has a very like nerd like approach every single show. It really doesn't change. That's his niche. That's what he does. So I'm like, how good is this going to be? I watched the first episode. I'm like, okay. I mean, he's a nerd, but he's like he's like slaying dope as a nerd, and he's trying to funnel it through Ozark. Land of the Lake of the Ozarks, which is in the middle of nowhere, and it's good. Their last season is going to be coming up soon. I don't know, with COVID going on, I don't know when they're going to release it, but that was a series that me and my wife pretty much binge watched the whole thing. And then when the next the next season came out, it was great, just like the rest of it. But it really shows, I think, Bateman on a different level that you're not used to seeing him as. So Ozark, I found out about that last year. That's been out for the past couple of years. I just finally caught on.
I've never even heard of it. Is it similar to like a Breaking Bad?
Kind of like that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like that. More of a little bit of an intro to it. He worked with a company that was a financial I don't know what you call a company that manages people's finances,
like a hedge fund,
and they got involved with a drug dealer. Drug dealer was like, okay, I'm gonna funnel money through you guys. You guys got to wash it and clean it. Well, his business partner was either stealing the money or doing something with the money that he wasn't supposed to be doing, and he ends up getting killed like in front of Jason Bateman. And he's about to kill Jason Bateman, and Jason Bateman's like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, I don't have no clue. Like, give me the money, give me the drugs, and give me the money, and I'll help funnel it, and I'll help clean it, and all of that. That's where the show starts off. And then from there on, they up and move from Chicago to Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, like in the middle of nowhere. And he's trying to figure out a way to funnel the money or how to clean the money in the middle of nowhere in Missouri. So that's like the beginning of it. And then from there on, it kind of just evolves into the whole thing. But that was very well done. The last season is coming up in 2021. So, and then one other thing, and then we'll talk about what we may be looking forward to in 2021. Kind of a Christmas movie. Again, I have an 8-year-old, but Jingle Jangle. Now, I'm bringing this up because we mentioned Forrest Whitaker's in it. Also, Felicia Rashad's in it. They got some young actors in it. They had Keegan Michael Key, I think it's his name. He was in it, and it was a very well done Christmas movie. Normally you're wondering how good is it going to be. If you got Felicia Rashad in it, she does not get involved in low budget films. Okay, if she's in it, it's going to be good. So that was well done. A-Trop, I see you shaking your head. Did you see that one?
Yeah, it was a very good movie, man. I mean, it's family friendly. It was warm. And then it's I think it's a Christmas movie for us.
Yeah. Right.
Not saying that you can't watch It's a Wonderful Life and all that, but I think that's A Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
It's like you said, man. Usually when you see Felicia Rashad, you can expect quality, and that's what you got out of this. I enjoyed it. And one more thing, Delroy Lindo is really secretly Bron James' father.
I believe you on that.
They look just alike.
Is it because of the hairline or is it because of the wrinkles in the forehead?
Just look at their. I've been saying that
No.
since Roy Lindo, since LeBron James got in the league. I was like, man, Delroy Lindo is dead.
Hey, well, you know what? Hell, they both big as hell.
Right.
I'll believe it.
Right, man.
He need to claim that boy. He need to.
Yeah, boy,
right. You need to come to the next game and be like, everybody stop playing. I got something to say to my son. And LeBron turned around like, what? Daddy, is it you? But yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, so 2021, what movies, series, or what are you guys looking forward to? A-Trap, I'll go to you first.
Hopefully season 2 of Lovecraft Country, season 2 of Godfather Hollow. Oh, and the 50 Cent addition to the Power, because they're one of Canaan. Yeah, Raising Canaan. Those 3 things I'm really looking forward to.
Okay. All right, Eric.
For me, it would be Raising Canaan. Any sort of Marvel or DC comic movies that may be coming out, I'm not really sure because of the COVID situation, but I'm looking forward to some of that. And another show that I've really gotten into is Yellowstone with Kevin Costner. Yellowstone, man, I'm telling you. If anybody remember the series Dallas back in the 80s? Okay, Kevin Costner plays a J.R. Ewing sort of guy.
Okay.
Kevin Costner is no joke. I looked at it. I was over at my brother's house for Christmas, and we sat back and we watched like 2 seasons in like about 48 hours.
Wow.
Because I'm telling you, boy, his whole family and him out cold. Oh, I'm not going to give you these spoilers, but his daughter, man, that chick is, we'll put it like this. His daughter, everybody's got one of those in their family. Grimy issues. Really knows that she's grimy and she got issues, or really just don't care. She's like, this is how I am. Take me for who I am. Get over it. And the way that she talked to her daddy. Oh, geez, man! If we did some stuff like that, man, we'd be picking up our teeth off the floor. Yeah. But yeah, Yellowstone, real good show. Looking forward to that. They're in season 4 right now. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. That's about it.
All right. One more thing, man. It's this show. I don't know if it's a good show at all, but on HBO Max, I saw one episode of this show called Euphoria. And it was primarily based in a diner. It was this 17-year-old girl talking to this guy my age, 50 or 50-something. And they were talking about drug addiction. One of the most powerful episodes of anything I've ever seen in my life. And I have a friend who is a recovering addict. And I asked him to watch it. Hey, man, how close is it? He said he couldn't have told that story better. But it's a series. He said he couldn't have sat there across from that little girl and better. And another one is 40 Years a Prisoner on HBO Max too. Okay.
Euphoria, I've seen they push it a lot. And I got HBO Max, so I'm probably gonna check it out. I know that's the female actor. She was a former like child actor. She did a lot of things. It looks good. It looks mysterious. Like you really don't know what it's about as you're watching, the previews and stuff. But that is one of those on my list. Zendaya is the name of the actor. But here's 2021. I got a list pulled up of movies coming out. Number 1, what I'm looking forward to is Coming to America 2.
Forgot about
that. I don't know how they're going to do this because when you do sequels, so much time has passed and you got Leslie Jones in it. Now, I like Leslie Jones sometimes. Sometimes she can be a little bit over the top. So I don't know how many scenes she got, but I'm very interested to see how this is going to work. And I'm a huge fan. That's one of my favorite movies, top 5 for me. I can recite lines in that movie like a lot of people can. But that's coming out in March. That'll be on Amazon Prime. Another one is Morbius. You know, we were talking about movies, Marvel. That's a Marvel movie. Jared Leto will be in that one. No Time to Die. If you're a James Bond fan, I'm not really a James Bond fan, but Daniel Craig will be back. A Quiet Place 2. Now, the first one, that was a good movie. Obviously, towards the end, you knew what was hunting them, but now you got two. Very interested to see how that's going to pan out. Black Widow's coming out in May, scheduled to come out. That should be good. Fast and Furious 9. Now, look, I'm done. Okay, please end this series of movies. They're probably going to do a 10. I just might as well round to a roundabout number.
You know what?
I can't think anymore.
I just want to say one thing. Fast and Furious is starting to get like Friday the 13th.
Yeah, the longer you go, the more murky and annoying. But people watch it. People love it. You're right. That's May the 28th, supposedly. Ghostbusters, a remake. You know, this is like 30 years later. I think it's gonna have kids in it. That's supposed to be coming out in June. That should be interesting. Venom 2. I didn't see the first one, so I'm gonna have to go back and kind of do my research. Yeah, I wasn't really a big Venom fan, but if they can collide him and Spider-Man, to me would be the best way to go about it, because then you got the back and forth. Minions, again, that goes back to me being a parent. That's coming out in July. Top Gun coming out July. Also, Space Jam 2. That should be coming out in the summer. LeBron's somewhat acting debut. I think he was in another movie before, but I want to see that just to see, the guys, basketball players getting into movies, and Space Jam was a good one. So I think you can definitely say that. Let's see any other movies as I'm going through this list.
Is there another Star Wars movie coming out in 2021?
Let me see.
Another what?
Another Star Wars. I don't see one. I do see Mission Impossible 7.
Oh yeah, yeah.
we know that's coming out
on the set of Mission Impossible about hope.
Yeah.
You know what? I just throw my hands up. I think that it was part scripted, but yeah, Tom Cruise dogged the hell out of
yeah, he did.
Boy, yeah, but hey, like I said again, if it would have been me, Tom Cruise would have got his ass whooped. Just saying.
But in the chokehold.
Yeah, man. But you know what? That little dude probably know some sort of martial art, so it probably wouldn't be an easy win. But
you know what, man? I understand where you're coming from, but you sitting up huddled up in the midst of a pandemic, and they already had to shut the movie down. I understand, but I understand his point of view too.
No, I understand his point of view. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I do get it. We're in the middle of a pandemic, but I think that it was just a little over the top.
Yeah, he was like enraged, like he just drank like 40 Red Bulls. The way he was, he was in overload. But I get it. So I kind of faded out. I don't know what happened to my audio or internet, but I did say Matrix 4 and Spider-Man 3. Those are kind of the last two. Okay. I don't know who's going to be in the Matrix 4. I'm assuming Keanu Reeves. I don't know about
everybody but Lawrence Fishburne.
Jada Pinkett's going to be in it too.
Okay.
Should be interesting.
Did John Wick 3 come out in 2020 or was it 2019?
I think that was 20. That was 2019.
Okay.
I've never seen John Wick. I was gonna watch 2, but I was like, I'm gonna be lost.
Watch 1.
Right. That's what I mean. But they won't put on any streaming service. So they got 2 and 3 on there, but I never have 1 on there. So I'm like,
I think you might be able to find it on somebody's on-demand content.
Probably, yeah. And then Keanu Reeves, man, with the gunplay in that movie. Like I don't even know if he ever threw a punch. He just literally was so good with his gun that he was able to take care of anybody. And Keanu Reeves is so laid back. like to see him in a movie like this to me was pretty good. I think I've seen 1 and 2. I don't think I've seen 3. So that'll be I gotta watch 3.
Man, three's pretty good. I have to say that there's no fall off between 1, 2, and 3. Shout out to Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne is a monster in John Wick. He makes the movie. You got that one supporting actor that makes the movie. It's Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence is Lawrence.
Yeah. And then John Wick 4 coming out May 27, 2022 is the scheduled date. So the sequels and movies coming out, I think have been pretty well done. And I'm looking forward to the Marvel movies. There's not a lot, we said Black Widow, but 2022, they're gonna have more stuff coming out. Also, Mahershala Ali with Blade. Now that's probably not coming out 2021.
Oh,
that's on the horizon.
Okay.
I'll be looking forward to.
Been a minute since we've seen a good Blade movie.
I know. But man, great having you guys on tonight. This is something, man, we got to do again. Maybe we make it an annual, yearly thing. We do 2021 movies or something. But you guys have some great input. Eric, thank you for coming on. A-Trap, thank you for coming on. What do you guys have coming up this week? I know you already mentioned Eric. You guys be kicking off the next podcast. But what do you have going on? Life, work, anything?
Life, just glad to be healthy. Glad that everybody in my inner circle is healthy. Glad to be a part of the BS3 family. Thank you for all the support that you've provided with us since day one. You know what? Anybody out there that's interested in podcasting, Ben is the real deal. Ben doesn't just point and direct. Ben gives you actual guidance. He will shoot it to you straight. Hey, this is great. Maybe you need to kind of veer over here in this direction. Maybe you need to put it this way. The best advice that you gave me and James that you told us, don't change a thing. It was like, be you. And that's the key. There's a gazillion podcasts that are out here, but when you find your audience really finds you.
Exactly.
Be you, be true to yourself, be true to your content. And hey, you know what? I'm just fortunate enough to have like a great family with the BS3 radio family, and I've got like a pretty outstanding co-host. I consider more like my brother James.
Yeah.
Between me and James, I think I'm pretty outspoken, but that cat go right down the middle. Right down the middle. He'll take that axe and he'll go right down the middle.
I've seen it numerous times on numerous episodes. So that's what I appreciate you about what you guys. It's variety. Like we get so many shows that are just pinpointed on different things. And that's the main thing about BS3 Radio. I want to do different things. That's why I was like, hey, let's do movies. I love movies. Let's do movies tonight. But you guys do a really good job. And that's true. Be yourself and you don't try to be somebody else in your podcast because it will come out that that's not who you really are. And you're right. Your listeners will find you. All right, A-Trap, what you got coming up?
Oh, well, tomorrow is the first episode of the End of the Bench Sports. And then me and D-Gray got the first episode of 2021 of the Couch Potatoes. Second episode of Build and Destroy. And within the next 7 to 14 days, I'm dropping a new show called Rapping with H. It's going to be End of the Bench because I'm keeping it in. That's going to be my brand. End of the Bench is going to be my brand. But I'm going to drop a show called The End of the Bench, A Living History, where I'm going to talk. Me and you already talked about it. I'm going to talk to people. I want them to tell me their journey. It could be a 30-minute show. It could be an hour show. It could be a 5-hour show, but I've already got 4. Let me see. Let me shrink the screen for a second. I have 4 to 6 interviews. Yeah, I got 6 interviews in the can already. I have like 6 more people set up. I just signed up 2 more people at the 6 today. So I want to get 12 in the can, and then I'm going to start releasing them. It gives me 4 months to get 12 more people, and I'm just going to do it that way because personally, I think it's time for us to have a living history. I want to talk to people. I really want to talk to older people, but I want to talk to anybody. And just tell me, okay, like you were born in the Bay. Let's talk about the Bay. Let's talk about your earliest memories. Let's talk about the world as you saw it when you were younger. And then it's going to elevate through today and what you're doing right now. I have a couple pastors. I have a pastor who's a pastor. I have a pastor who used to be a drug addict. I got a couple guys from the Nation of Islam who have checkered past. I have Razcast. I have Skazoo. I have this basketball player from the Flying Illini, Irvin Smalls. Um, uh, I got a couple, I got a bunch of people that I just want their stories told. I may even take a couple of my old shows, like with Freeze Love, the comedian, OC, the rapper, and incorporate them into this. Because if you hear something, my personal point of view is when you hear someone's story, you could be at your all-time lowest, and you hear someone's story. You hear Eric's story, and Eric could just say, "Hey, man, I just been persevering, and here I am at the mountaintop." Or, you know what? I'm not at the mountaintop, but I just pulled myself out of the mud. Those stories need to be told. And our older people, I honestly believe we lose about 100 years of history every time one of our uncles, aunts, or grandparents or parents pass away. We, because we keep pretend, you've heard my Build and Destroy Saturday show. We want to, for whatever reason, we think racism started with Donald Trump and the country loved us up until 4 years ago. And that's just not the case. That's not the case. Our ancestors, our grandparents, our parents, they have been fighting, struggling, scratching, and biting since they were born. And those stories need to be relived as well. What really inspired me is this book by Rosa Parks, her autobiography. And in Rosa Parks' autobiography, she speaks about her grandfather and how her grandfather, when the Klan would get riled up, would sit on the front porch or sit behind the front door at their house. And she would sit at his feet with a shotgun and two other guns and said, "If they come in here, I'm going to kill as many of them as I can." And she said that she sat at his feet because she wanted to see him kill a Klansman.
Wow.
And it's a book, another book that I read. I can't think of his name is Cobb. The author name is Cobb. But his dad went to see Dr. King speak. And he walked up, and excuse my language, please. I know I don't want to use a profanity, but this is what his dad said to Dr. King. "That was great, but that nonviolent shit gonna get you killed." And he wrote a book, "That Nonviolent Stuff Will Get You Killed." And it speaks about our ancestors and how, we're taught that everybody was cowering and just, "Oh, okay, sir." This is a group of people in Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia that was like, hey, it's another book called We Shoot Back. And it tells the story of our ancestors, how they were not just cowering and going along with status quo. They were proud, ready to fight people. As the kids, or as we used to say when we was kids, they were valiant.
Yeah. Man, I'm definitely gonna have to read those because
It's pretty deep.
It's true. Like what got him killed was being nonviolent, and they came with violence when he was trying to be nonviolent. Wow.
Wow. And then, like most people don't know, the United States federal government in 1977 paid Coretta Scott King money for a wrongful death lawsuit.
Wow.
So what does that tell you? Same way they had a hand.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? And not to interrupt, but that's why a lot of these files are sealed. And so the history of of us and being citizens of this country goes back so deeply. I have a lot of debates with a lot of people about Abraham Lincoln, quote, freeing the slaves. No, it was a numbers game. And I'm not going to get into it too deep because we do plan on speaking of this during Black History Month. It's a numbers game. The only reason why Abraham Lincoln, quote, freed the slaves is because the North was being decimated. It was a numbers game. So you legally couldn't have blacks in the army unless they were citizens of the country. So he had no choice but to abolish slavery so he can get the numbers up, because had the North lost the Civil War, we may have still been enslaved. So he didn't do these great things because he himself owned slaves in the South. So, and then this whole kick about, blacks in the Democratic Party, you know what? Going back to the Martin Luther King days, before the 1960 election, Nixon was leading in the polls. The Kennedys were known racist. Bobby probably was a moderate racist, but the majority of the Kennedys were racist. The only reason why John Kennedy pulled some strings to get Martin Luther King released, so again, it just so happens that the blacks were granted the right to vote. Next thing you know, that swung the election in the Kennedys' favor, and ever since then, most black people have been voting Democratic just kind of out of blind faith. But there's a whole bunch of history about both the parties screwing over the African-American community. Yeah. But that's a topic for another day. We probably should get together and talk about that. But it's mind-blowing how people take the right to vote. I'm just going to vote for such and such. I'm just going to vote for such and such. No, read about these people. Read about the party who you are pledging your allegiance to. Don't just do it out of blind faith.
Yeah. Hey, you both of you guys need to definitely get out and sit down and do something together. You guys are
send them my number.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely need to get together and collaborate, because it infuriates me that we're not in touch with our culture. It infuriates me. And it also infuriates me that individuals who don't understand our culture think that we're trying to exclude them when we say Black Lives Matter. We're not saying that only Black lives matter, but if all men are created equal, then we definitely should matter just as much as the next person. So I know equality it's probably not going to happen. We're probably not going to be even killed, but you know what? We're going to keep trying until it happens.
Yeah.
And our voices, like this election, thank goodness it will be heard, because when we get together and we organize, we conquer mountains.
Exactly.
Waiting for that and actually I was about to say I'm waiting for that next black leader. You know what? I'm actually not going to say that, because they're out there. They just need to they need to have a platform where they can see who our leaders is. So shout out to our first black female vice president, Kamala Harris. Shout out to her. She's got an amazing history too. Hey, you know what? We're coming, but I really do think it's the next generation. Honestly, these millennials, those are going to be the ones that's gonna break this cycle, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, another movie that we're gonna have to check out is called Judas and the Saint. It's the Fred Hampton story. It means a lot to me again because Fred Hampton was killed 4 doors down. Outside of that window, 4 houses down, it's a vacant lot, and that's where Fred Hampton was killed.
Wow.
That window right there.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, Judas and the Black Messiah. Yeah. And to piggyback off the Abraham Lincoln thing, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation because again, this is how, as Eric stated, we're so ignorant to our past. Do you know our ancestors used to call the 31st of December Emancipation Day, Emancipation Eve, because Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation in September. He gave the South 4 months to get their act together, and then on freeing the slaves January 1st. That's Emancipation Day for one, and for two, he did that in 1863. It took him 3 years to give him 2.5 years to allow brothers and sisters to fight, because Harriet Tubman just recently, within the last 10 years, a bunch of school kids got together and made Hillary Rodham. No, it was a little more than 10 years. Made Hillary Rodham Clinton give her pension, give her family her pension from being in the military. And that's why I always say, people say Lincoln freed the slaves. No, the phrase slaves saved Lincoln simply because in 1863 he signed the Emancipation, January 1st. 1865, mid-1865, he gave brothers guns. May 66, the war was over and we won it. So 6 months after you give the brothers the guns, we win the war. We saved y'all.
Yeah,
exactly.
And we got a couple of comments here, and we got a question to both of you guys as we're rounding out. But Speakeasy Sports, thank you for coming through. He said the best movie has been the come up of everybody in our circle. I love that comment right there. All of us are continuing to come up and improve. Alonzo Celis says Toy Story or Endgame. Now both of those are from 2019. I did see both of them. Endgame was great. All the Avengers, the first and the second one in that series. Toy Story 4, a good continuation. But he has a question. What's your reaction about racism and how it has affected the world entirely? I don't know how much, we don't have that much time left, but A-Trap, I'll go to you to answer that.
Well, my reaction, I don't have a reaction to racism anymore. It's part of the fabric of America. It's a part of, white supremacy has hit the world. Personally, to get partially spiritual, racism is what it's going to bring about what they talk about in Revelations, the end of the world as we know it. Because if you notice, as I told y'all, 45% of the people who our ancestors were captured were sitting in Brazil. I was listening to this brother who's a reporter down there. He's saying 60% of the population down there are starting to finally identify as black. There are going to be more people in the country of Nigeria than on the continent of Europe. So the end of this racism and the tyranny that these bigots have brought about and disrupted the world, that's what I believe they talk about in Revelation. So it's about to take a turn. And as long as we can stay focused, that's why all this chaos is coming about. Ethiopia chaotic right now. Nigeria is chaotic right now. Europe is chaotic right now. I think it's just these racists and bigots are finally losing their grip on society, and it's going, I think the end of the world as we know it. That's what the people always leave off, as we know it. They just go end of the world, but they never say as we know it.
Yeah,
that's what I think it is.
Great point. And I think racism is always been here, and I think it's kind of what you're saying, H-Rap. It is spreading around the world, but Black people as a whole are waking up to that. It is you are being oppressed, or that there is a history too that we have to look at. And man, learning from you tonight, H-Rap, man, it's been pretty amazing. Eric, you want to add anything on to that?
How do I feel about racism? It's always going to be here. As long as we've got such a diverse, cultures, racism, I honestly think it's a taught behavior. If you think about how kids function with each other, you put all different kids of all different ethnicities, you put a bunch of 1-year-olds in a circle and see how they gravitate towards each other. They don't think of this kid as a Chinese kid, or this kid is Mexican, this kid is Black, this kid is white. They just play with each other, and it's just like a natural innocence. Now you start, increasing in age, and then with all of the stuff that's put inside of these kids' head, I think racism is a taught behavior. I really do. Just watch any child. There was this video on Facebook a couple of years ago where you have this white kid and this Black kid. They both went to the same daycare. They hadn't saw each other for like a couple of weeks, and they just ran to each other and they just hugged each other and didn't let each other go. To me, that's saying that racism is a taught behavior.
Yeah.
You take those same two kids and you put them in a racial environment, they'll turn racist. So it's a taught behavior. So until we start teaching our kids that being different is not a bad thing, you definitely need to embrace your culture, but respect the others.
Right. Exactly.
Look at it this way, guys. And I'll let you go, Ben. Look at it this way. We were actually, think about this. Our ancestors, the ancestors that were brought here to the Western Hemisphere, are the first Black people in the world. Before then, you were identified by your country. We were identified by our color once we were brought over here.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and right. Don't even get me started with slavery.
Right.
That's a whole nother other thing, because before we were even disrupted, uprooted from where we at, they were trying to enslave the Indians. But the Indians was like, I'd rather die than to be a slave. So the Indians basically killed themselves because they was like, I'm not with this. And like, and that's another story. Yeah, don't get me started.
That's why you gotta watch it Enslaved, man, because it talks about how brothers and sisters was overtaking those ships.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't know how to navigate back. They all just walked off the boats.
Yep.
Wow.
But that's a story for another day, though. Like I said, we'll have Ben up in here till about 6 in the morning.
Hey man, we definitely got to do this again. I'm gonna send you
anytime.
A-Trap's number. But yeah, this has been a really great conversation at different levels. Movies, we talked about Black history. We talked about quite a variety of topics. So everybody tuning in, make sure to check out the Ear Hustling podcast. You can find it on bs3radio.com. Also, the Ear Hustling podcast is on Anchor. They're also on Facebook. Go to the Facebook page, like the Facebook page. They do great work. A-Trap B, Into the Bench, also built for this network. Built for this network on Spreaker.com. Also, you can look it up. The page is on Facebook as well. But thank you guys for coming on tonight. Great conversation. I enjoyed it.
Hey, Eric, text me first, because if you call me, I have, if your number isn't in my phone, it goes straight to voicemail.
No problem.
All right. Man, thank you, Ben, man. And I need both of y'all on my show. And anybody, hey, really your dad. Ask your dad to come on my show, Ben. Because, again, I want to talk to everybody about this story, because this, man, then I'm going to let you go again. This is like one of the Tuskegee Airmen. His son is somebody that we know. I was listening to him last week. He died 2 years ago, and he didn't know. This dude is famous too. He didn't know that his dad was one of the Tuskegee Airmen until he died, and one of the other airmen came up and said, "Yeah, man, he was the guy."
Wow.
So
he didn't know. He didn't know until his dad died.
Yep, and all his dad told him was, "Hey, man, you got to work hard." He lived his entire. This man is 60 now.
Wow.
And he didn't know until he was like 55 that my dad is one of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Wow.
So just imagine. And then he asked the dude who told the story about his dad. He said, "Do your kids know?" He said, "No, they don't know. I didn't talk about it." Bruh, my dad died. You know my story, Ben. My dad died 4 months before I was born. I left corporate America 12 years ago to take care of my mother until she died in 2010. For 2 years, I took care of my mother. I was 38 to 40. I didn't start asking my mother questions about my dad until my mom died September 30th. I didn't start asking my mother questions. I'm in the house with my mother for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 3 meals a day. Me and my mother spent every day together for 2 years. Do you know I ain't start asking my mom questions about my dad until July? She died in September. So this is why I have to have your mom, your dad, your uncles, your aunts. Please funnel as many people as y'all can to me, because I want their stories told, because they've probably accomplished some wonderful things or experienced some horrific things, and that we can bring to the attention of young people and to ourselves. So I want that.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll definitely reach out to my parents. So I'm sure they would love it. They have their own podcast now too, so yeah, they would definitely love to come on. But man, learned a lot tonight. Great conversation. We will definitely do this again.
Yes, indeed.
And we'll definitely keep in touch. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to click that bell. You can be on top of all the content. We do sports, music, life, movies, entertainment, whatever it is. We want to bring you every piece of the content and every piece of entertainment and podcasting. So have a great night or morning if you're on the East Coast.